Hello and thank you for joining us on the Monday edition of Journalists Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, Governor Soludo visits Nnamdi Kanu in detention as IPOB announces new sit-at-home dates over trial. While gunmen set ablaze courts, local government secretariat in Anambra State. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Sam Ibimere will be joining us after this time out. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. Let's begin with the vexed issue of Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act 2022. President Muhammadu Buhari and the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami have filed a suit at the Supreme Court seeking an interpretation of the contentious clause. It will be recalled that the Court of Appeal in Abuja set aside the Federal High Court judgment that deleted the clause from the Act, while also agreeing with the lower courts that the new provision is unconstitutional. Babajide, after this, we now, after the Court of Appeal gave the verdict, now we now have the President and the Attorney General going to the Supreme Court, which is the apex court, and this is like a constitutional matter. I'm sure it's going to be expedited. But let me quickly take this break. When we get back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangouts. We'll be right back. Please stay with us. Sorry for the mix-up there. Sam Ibimere is not joining us, for real. All right. Jide, this Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act, you know, it has been contentious. The President signed the Electoral Act 2022 as amended with the caveat that the National Assembly, please expunge these parts. And when it got to the National Assembly, the lawmakers were courageous enough and they said, no, we are not going to remove it. Now, we are going to have a final solution to this matter at the Supreme Court.
Yes, the President, it was a rare show of independence by the lawmakers. And on the day when they turned down the efforts of the Senate President to have the Senate revisit that matter, I've never seen a no voice vote as loud as that. I don't think there was anybody in the Senate chambers who wanted them to revisit that matter, because it was a resounding no, very loud. And the Senate President had no choice but to do the wish of his colleagues, because when your colleagues rise in a wave to say they don't want something, if you insist on having your way, they will eventually impeach you, and you then begin to lick your wounds. So they said no, that this was what they wanted. But as I said here a few weeks back, there are many people who believe that that portion is discriminatory. You know, that why should they disallow some categories of people from being elective delegates at party primaries. Now, the Attorney General is arguing that that portion is inconsistent with sections 42, 65, 66, 106, 107, 131, 137, 147, 151, 177, 182, 192, and 196 of the Constitution, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as well as the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. So what they are there to argue is the fact that the rights of some people have been taken away by barring them from being elective delegates at party primaries. The argument of these lawmakers had always been that this gives governors extreme powers. Governors are able to hire up to 2,000 aides if they wanted. And if you allow all of these aides, some of them may not even be active party members. You allow all 2,000 to be delegates to be able to vote at party primaries. That has already given a governor a big head start. So if a governor does not want a particular person, yes, even right now that's still the way it is. If a governor does not want someone, that person will not emerge. You know, so that the advantage that it gives governors, if this were allowed to go on, is what those federal lawmakers oppose. You and I know that these federal lawmakers are always daggers drawn with governors. In some cases, governors will be after their positions, so they frustrate them because governors want their Senate seats. So this is the situation. We can't pretend not to know why those guys opted for this portion. But Kaode Ajulo, who is the lawyer representing National Assembly, is saying that the National Assembly has powers to make laws for the country, and that the Supreme Court cannot delete a law that was validly made by the National Assembly. Well, we'll see what happens in the final analysis.
Now, we have this, these are our representatives. There are 109 members, and the president is now saying that alter this part, I'm going to sign it. A lot of people believe that if the president had a major issue with this section 84, subsection 12, that the president would have turned it down, would have not signed it now, than trusting the National Assembly members that please alter it, that it's quite unconstitutional what the president did, that once you sign it, it becomes law.
Well, I think it's all arguable. But you know, the beauty of what we're experiencing is what democracy truly represents. The president is bound by the Constitution, and that's the truth. And of course, he has advisors who will tell him that certain things, you know, contravene the Constitution. And I think what Mr. President did at that time was based on the advice he got from the Attorney General, you know, who informed him that certain sections of the Electoral Act, especially 8412, you know, was unconstitutional. And if you recall, what was done by the Attorney General then, even though it became, you know, a source of concern, was the hurried, you know, move to get the matter interpreted at the High Court somewhere in Abia State. And the ruling, the order that was given by the court was that it was unconstitutional, even though at the appeal level, it was found out that the person who moved, you know, for that issue to be addressed didn't have the local standing to deal with it. But even in the judgment in the opinion of the appeal court, they felt that if that matter had come before them through the right source, that their position would have been that it was unconstitutional. So what we're having is a test of our laws. Right here on this forum, we have always argued that, you know, or maintained that our courts should be tested. Issues like this and many others, you know, that are not very clear should go before the courts to get, you know, the right interpretation. And I think that the president did very well to take the matter, you know, to the judiciary, which is one of the arms of democratic institutions, you know, to have this issue interpreted. So let it go as far as the Supreme Court, and of course the Supreme Court is going to have the final say on this matter, and then we can have, you know, clarity on what, you know, the law, you know, says concerning the rights of political appointees to stand for primaries, vote at the primaries, or be voted for. You know, I think we need that clarity, and there are so many other issues, you know, as I said, you know, which clearly indicate that we have gaps, you know, in our laws. Maybe if we have time, we can dwell on some of these other gaps that we have. But it's fine that we are having some of our laws tested, you know, at the highest level for clarity. Once it is done, it's done.
All right. Ambition makes the man, and that is what drives politics. In Kano State, the governor, Abdullahi Ganduje, has withdrawn his senatorial ambition for Senator Barau Jibrin, who represents Kano North Senatorial District. The move is to resolve the heightening crisis within the All Progressive Congress, APC, in the states after a series of meetings between Governor Ganduje and Senator Jibrin. With other APC top members in Abuja, the agreement was reached for the governor to let go his ambition for peace to reign in the party. We have the political dynamics. Okay. We have the political dynamics in Kano State changing, but let me take this break. We'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. Please bear with us. Welcome back. Now, the dynamics of Kano politics effectively changed with the floating of that movement, the new Nigerian party of Senator Shekarau. No, Abi Kwakwasia. A very, very strong grassroots politician in Kano State. And the governor cannot afford to go into this dispensation with a divided house.
Of course, the house is already divided. All that all that Governor Ganduje can do is to ensure that things don't degenerate further. And by giving up his post, I think it was you I was discussing with, that Senator Barau, he has refused, he didn't leave the party. But that's the governor's senator. So, but he is part of G7, part of Shekarau's group. Now, how do you, because Shekarau right now
is at the gate.
Is at the gate of Kwankwaso's party. This is something that if anyone told you before now that it could happen, you will argue that it's just not possible. But Shekarau, Kwankwaso went to see Shekarau in his house yesterday. The governor too was there a few days back at very late in the night because he got information that Shekarau was about to enter
the
NMPP. Kwankwaso has applied so much pressure on Shekarau.
And Shekarau is still formidable.
It's still formidable. In Kano, as I always say, the politics in Kano currently is a tripod. One leg of the tripod cannot win the governorship. You need two. Two. Once you have two, you have an edge because this one leg needs one of these two legs to win. The three of them are strong. Now, what we have seen is...
Can you mention their names?
Now, right now, the Ganduje group,
Ganduje, the sitting governor,
Shekarau and Kwankwaso. The governor, because of his incumbency and all that, is one leg. Shekarau, former governor, he has always been strong with all his supporters like Take and the rest of them.
The senator now.
Yes. Now, the former governor too, Kwankwaso, formidable he still is. Now, he has formed a party. What that party is doing in northern Nigeria, especially in the northwest, is to first identify somebody who appears to have been cheated, who is popular. They now bring that person to their fold. They promise you, they will give you a ticket. They will give you a ticket to go and contest against the people who cheated you. That's what they are trying to do. In Jigawa, they are trying to bring the man who was governorship candidate for Sule Lamido back then. His former chief of staff. Sule Lamido's former chief of staff. Of course, he's strong. They've identified that person. They want him as their governorship candidate. In Katsina, they've gone to that market. They want to make that market their governorship candidate. So in Kano, they are likely to use the in-law of Kwankwaso, who was the candidate that last time, who gave Ganduje the run for his money. That is Abba Gida Gida. That is the person that they want to use. So he's building his party around discontent in Kwankwaso is.
What a model.
So now the governor is aware of fire on the mountain. So he's trying to stop this because people now are not happy from the APC. They are moving into that party. That is a threat that the governor has seen. Now he's going to try to stop Shekarau from moving. Because if Shekarau moves, it's a massive, massive setback. Now, he has Barau, who is part of G7, Shekarau's group. They have lost at the Supreme Court. So having lost at the Supreme Court, they felt, there's no future for us again within the APC. So now they now felt, okay, of course, your man, Kwankwaso, is just waiting, trying to feast from the problem. So that's what the governor is trying to stop. Now, by giving up his own seat, his own ambition to go to the Senate, it's a sacrifice that he has made to stop further defection into Kwankwaso's party. Now, this is very important. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu intervened some days back to stop Shekarau from going to the NNPP. He sent his aircraft, his private jet, to bring him to Abuja for a peace meeting somewhere in Asokoro. Whether that would eventually stop Shekarau from moving, no one can say. But Shekarau has not been given a ticket
for his senatorial.
So if that ticket is given to him at the other end, no one will be able to stop him from leaving. This is just the truth. That in the fullness of time we will see. Politics is an interest-driven game. You can speak to people, appeal to their conscience. Most of the time, they ask themselves, what's in it for me? And this looks like an ego battle between Governor Ganduje and Shekarau. So before the end of this week, we will start. No, Kwankwaso is just someone lurking at the corner, just watching event and trying to mop up as many people to his side as possible. That's what he's doing. But if the APC national leadership should have intervened decisively and to stop this kind of thing from happening, because if they allow Shekarau to move to
be a big
NNPP,
disaster.
Shekarau and Kwankwaso on the same side.
All right.
I don't want to say what
we'll come back after this time out. Welcome back. We are looking at the intra-party crisis within the All Progressive Congress in Kano State, a very big voting bloc for the All Progressive Congress. At the last count during the 2015 election, that was what knocked the former president out. By the time they brought in 1.9 million votes from Kano, Jonathan could not recover with all the South states. No, couldn't even meet that tally. Now, if the APC, if they have crisis in their major stronghold.
The fact of the matter is that Kano is very strategic in Nigeria's power calculations or power equation, and you just had that confirmed. And Jide has done a fantastic job trying to dissect, what is going on.
Who are the
truth?
The principal actors.
Yeah, the truth is that Kano is so strategic that everyone who is someone within Nigerian political space is interested, whether in the ruling party or in the opposition party, So we would like to see what plays out in Kano. The early signals we got was when Aswajusmin front.
Okay.
Abdulmin Jibrin, you know, defected. It was a clear signal that we're going to have eruptions, you know, within that space. And just as Jide said, you know, this is fire, you know, on the mountain, as it were, and the party needs to, you know, act very quickly, because those internal struggles that went as far as Supreme Court is not totally settled. Politicians don't forgive easily.
No.
You know, once you get defeated, you want to, you know, go back and fight again.
Yeah, you are not needed in this fold again.
Yeah. So even if you know, there are attempts to reach out to you as a politician, they just don't open up their flanks, because they know that in doing so, it could be fatal. You know, so what you see playing out in Kano is typical of politics, of Nigerian politics, between Ganduje, Shekarau, and Kwakwanso. Those are three, if you permit, you know, warlords, and Nigerians need to take, you know, a look at what is happening there, because they've got a huge voting population, you know, that will interest anyone who is aiming for the center. It's a very critical space, you know, and it must be watched, you know, very, very closely. For Shekarau, you know, when I saw images of the governor visiting, I knew there was trouble, because these are people who are almost their sworn enemies. So for him to, you know, put everything aside and say, let me make a move, it just shows you the desperation in that place, you know, to get things resolved if it is possible. I hope, you know, really works out, because politics is about contestation, and people just don't want to give up. It's about power. It's an interest-driven game, and it's not about, okay, now we. No. At the end of the day, someone is interested in grabbing power so that he could influence whatever happens around him.
Judy, I don't trust politicians. The last time Mr. President called Senator Rabi Kwakwanso into Aso Rock, and he came out to grant an interview that there's no party that they won't have any problem, that this is a family affair, that we are okay, we are good. It was the next day that Senator Kwakwanso left the APC, in spite of that interview and everything. So, do you see Shekarau still working with Ganduje, or is almost irretrievably damaged, that relationship?
See, if you are to judge what could possibly be his next move from the moves of his associates, it looks unlikely that Shekarau will remain in the APC.
It looks unlikely.
It looks very, very unlikely. If you are to judge what he's likely to do.
And he didn't get his ticket to return to the Senate?
No.
Wow.
No. So already there are some of those who are leaving, people like Kawus, Smaila, you know, strong in Kano politics, is gone. It's gone to NMPP. A good number of his guys are gone already. So who is he without his followers? So it could well be that as early as Wednesday, we'll hear that Shekarau has gone.
Because no time
it's
at
like
all.
The choices before him are tough. Are tough. He couldn't remain in PDP because, I mean, Kwankwaso couldn't remain in PDP because of the way he was treated. Now, we felt that, well, the best thing is let me form my own party. We formed that party.
Is that formidable?
Yes, at least, you know, every party his party will just be like the Abga of Northern Nigeria.
Yes.
You start,
it's a grassroots person.
Start as a grassroots party, dominant in one state, but you can use that, you know, the way CPC began.
Yes.
You know, you can use that to grab, they will win some states. The way they are going.
And some seats.
They will win some states, and they will win
some assembly
a lot of assembly, House of Reps, and all that, because it's just the reality that Kwankwaso is strong, he remains strong. And people who are aggrieved leaving the party to somewhere else, you don't expect all of them to lose. It's not going to happen. That's why the president warned that let's not deny popular people of their opportunity to win. Because when we do that and they go elsewhere, they win. So this is the thing. They're just going everywhere trying to find aggrieved people, and they are succeeding with it. So I just hope that Governor Ganduje can still find a way. Yes, he stopped what could have been an immediate defection.
So with the future of his senatorial ambition,
yes,
to allow these people another stake, you don't see that reversing the situation?
No, because you are talking about, your question was about Shekarau.
Shekarau, yes.
Shekarau has not been given the ticket. I don't know if it can still happen. No one has promised him that you get a ticket. Barau too was initially not promised. But the governor, seeing that more and more of these people belonging to Shekarau's group are leaving the party in droves, to arrest that drift, he has now decided, okay, I give up my seat because Senator Barau has done well in the Senate and is popular. I give up my seat. Let Barau remain. That will make many people happy. It will convince some of the people from the group to remain. But whether it will convince Shekarau, I'm not certain of that. I'm not certain of that. I think a lot more needs to be done to get Shekarau to remain.
What would this put in the APC? Because another party, the People's Democratic Party, are also locking behind somewhere, even at the national level, looking and wanting to capitalize on any move or any mistakes made by the ruling party.
I said so earlier, Kano is very strategic and it's got the numbers. So everyone who is involved in this game is looking at the numbers. Kano is indeed very strategic. So just as I said, even for the opposition party, they have their eyes on Kano as well. Remember, even if PDP is not as strong, there are possibilities that Kwakwanso could take his part and hold major talks with any party that is aiming for the center. It's not impossible.
Yes.
It's not impossible. So what he's trying to do is build sufficient clout so that he could negotiate at any point in time that an advantage presents itself. So it's about numbers. And we all agree here that Kwakwanso is a grassroots person. Beyond Kano, he has his eyes on the neighboring states. So PDP will also be eyeing those states. It's going to, Kano, every election season is a battleground, just like Lagos.
Let's look at the old war horse. That's Governor Abdullahi Ganduje. He has been a deputy governor. He has been a commissioner. He has been served with, even going to Abuja, served with Governor Kwakwanso, former Governor Kwakwanso. Yes. Is back two-time governor.
When he was the defense minister. He's honestly, the way the Kano politics is going, I'm intrigued, I'm perplexed. I thought that these two individuals should have managed themselves better. I don't think they did that. And as I've always said, the APC, the conflict resolution module of APC is a very defective one.
Very defective.
You can't simply say, oh, governors are the leaders of the party in every state. Yes, the Constitution says that. But how do you manage the fact that some of the people in those states are themselves former governors? How do you manage those egos? You can't simply say, oh, in your state, the governor is the leader of the party. Yes, that is it. Kwankwaso was the leader of the party when he was governor. That's that was even what caused the quarrel between Kwankwaso and Shekarau back then, when they told him, look, the governor is he had to leave the party. Now, how do you then deal with a situation in which you have a former governor who is aggrieved, who has clout, even like the incumbent governor, who wants power to be shared? And when that doesn't happen, he thinks that the next thing to do is to leave the party. How do you please those people? How does the party get to ensure that such things do not degenerate to the point that it could cause the party to lose
Leadership.
a very, very important state like this? Actually, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not the leader of the, I mean, it's not on the ESCO of the party. There ought to be people in the neck of the party. Party leaders, I mean, people, even NWC members, who will respond whenever there is crisis and nip the crisis in the bud. Actually, Bola Ahmed Tinubu can only play his part, he can only try his best. Where he sees that this problem could cause the party this state, you know, had to sleepless night,
like
trying to resolve
it shouldn't be too difficult for this, the new chairman, Senator Adamu.
Yes, Senator Adamu was saying the other day that party that the people causing crisis are former leaders, former governors. They are the ones causing crisis in the party. How do you manage those people? If you don't manage them properly, you know, okay, former governor in Kebbi, you could accuse him. Former governor in Gombe, you could accuse him. Former governor in Kano, you could accuse him. How do you manage such big people and their egos and ensure that they remain in the party and they are still strong?
Thank you for staying with us.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
My name is Kesandu, yes. I'm calling from Imo State.
Oh, Kesandu from Imo State. Go ahead.
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Like people have rightly said, Kano is so strategic. For anybody who wants to gain anything reasonable in the Nigerian politics today, you cannot miss Kano. These are the numerical strength of voters. And I can tell you, this crisis is not ending. To be sincere and blunt it off, the man who never gets benefit in all this whole crisis is Radio Pampasi. He has got the clout. He has got the grassroots, everything. And I tell you, I'm not a member of his party, but with the way he has built his party now, and with I tell you, Congress is going to take advantage of all this crisis, and you see him coming out. And the PDP, both of them are going to give a good outing, because what these two guys are doing, they cannot agree to each other. Nobody is ready to do the other way around. So it's the congratulations to 1% the PDP from all indications. Thank you.
Thank you, Kesandu. Thank you for your submission. And finally, the trouble in the southeast is showing no signs of abating. In the midst of this, Governor of Anambra State, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, has visited the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu. After the visit, Governor Soludo said the IPOB leader was in high spirits, with Kanu said to have expressed sadness over loss of lives and property in the region and called for restoration of peace. Meanwhile, IPOB has declared new dates for sit-at-home order ahead of the court sittings involving its leader. According to the new dates announced by the spokesperson of the group, Ima Powerful, 18th and 26th of May will be observed as sit-at-home in honor of Kanu's court outings. Also, Gunmen set ablaze the Secretariat of the Indemili North local government in Ogidi and a magistrate court in Anambra State, indicating that peace is far from being achieved. Let's take it one by one. Professor Soludo has been kind of quiet in the last 2 months, but from what I've seen, he's been kind of walking on the ground, and the result is this meeting with Nnamdi Kanu. And you know, Anambra is one of the most troubled states in terms of the activities of this so-called non-gunmen, Anambra and Imo, yes. Almost like the worst hit. So let's take it from there, Jide.
Well, it's a good thing that the governor sought audience with Nnamdi Kanu, and he saw him. I could see from the pictures that Nnamdi Kanu was excited, to have Soludo visit him. Don't forget they had in the past, Soludo had joined others in the past to seek freedom for Nnamdi Kanu. So Nnamdi Kanu was happy to receive him. Now, the governor said Nnamdi Kanu was not happy about the killings going on in the southeast, the kidnapping, or said to be committed in the name of IPOB.
Yes.
So the governor said Nnamdi Kanu would not be averse to a situation in which he's able to address the people on this matter. Maybe what needs to be done is for Nnamdi Kanu to be allowed to shoot maybe a video where he will be appealing to the people that, look, I am not in support of this crippling sit-at-home that is destroying the socioeconomic potential of the Southeast. Perhaps if that can be done and it is pushed out, maybe that will put an end to this needless sit-at-home that is going on, and even the killings going on, the attack on local government quarters. You know, just how many more local government quarters will be set ablaze? Government institutions are being destroyed. So somebody needs to find a way to end the carnage in the Southeast, and that's why some of us have called for a peaceful, how do I describe it? Dialogue in resolving this matter. It's not every matter that the courts have to resolve. It's not every matter that you can use force. If we will be guaranteed of peace, if Nnamdi Kanu will give up his agitation that clearly has become bloody in exchange for peace in the Southeast, I don't think it is bad, and I expect the Nigerian government to respond to the clamor for the dialogue to be used to resolve this matter.
The agitation, the agitation has been definitely, from the looks of them, hijacked, and in the Southeast now, when you see the rate of killings and everything, you will know that even those people that are leading the agitation, that they don't have even control of what is happening in the East right now.
It's a fact. The agitation has been hijacked. It's a fact. And you could tell from what you get to read in the newspapers and elsewhere that even within the ranks of IPOB, we seem to have two dominant groups. The one for which Imam Powerful speaks and tells the world and anyone who cares to listen that therefore a peaceful agitation, and the other one led by one young man who sits somewhere in Finland called Simon Ekpa, who says he's leading the arm that is called the IPOB autopilot and all that. So it's clear that what is going on
all the way from Finland.
Oh yes, that what is going on in the Southeast is a clear hijack. A lot of criminality is going on, and it's a source of concern, to anyone who really desires peace for this country, and that is why Soludo's move is quite commendable. But I also have even a bigger concern, and that has to do with the fact that we need to see a lot more cohesion in the way Southeast governors are attending to this. It's good to see them visit and all that, but you ask yourself, how coordinated are they? And I'll give you a very quick example. The last time Mr. President visited Ebonyi State, anyone who watched Governor Umahi of Ebonyi State, speak, would have heard him, say very clearly that there are problems even within Ohanese. In fact, he was literally blaming the Ohanese president for not acting very quickly. And for me, that's a very serious, is a danger signal that we seem to have some kind of disagreements on how to approach, freedom for Nnamdi Kanu, who is a major player in the entire Biafran struggle. So we would like to see the efforts of Soludo complemented by the larger Ohanese group. What Umahi said, not too long ago, should bother anyone who is from that region. And you can't come in the open and begin to blame, the president of the Ohanese for not acting very quickly, and that you had done yours as the chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum. So we would like to see, a more coordinated response, to the attempt to seeking a political solution to the challenge we have in the Southeast. It's clear that government can't resolve this by picking up arms and trying to quell the so-called rebellion. There is need for political solution, and the way to go about it is conversation, having very honest, sincere conversations or dialogue, just like we have seen.
Ayo, let me just add. People are watching us in Kano and we are getting all kinds of reactions.
Okay.
Now,
that Kano is...
they are saying that Shekara was promised the ticket, but I demanded that all the contestants must withdraw. You understand?
Wants to be a sole candidate.
All the other aspirants must withdraw.
Okay, from APC.
Yes, he was promised the ticket, but he demanded that other contestants must withdraw. That means that no one should contest against him.
Consensus person.
Yes, that it should be. There is no guarantee that
he will win the primaries.
If
the governor is...
Maybe that's what he's thinking, that they can use it to humiliate him. Maybe that's what he's thinking. Then they also said another person, although we can confirm this, said Shekara was given his ticket, but he further demanded for deputy governor, additional Senate seat, 10 reps, 20 state assembly, 5 commissioners, and this is not acceptable to Ganduje. So we don't know what the situation is, but this is what they are saying, that the governor couldn't have accepted some of this. Yes, the conditions
that give.
It's like submitting the party structure to him.
Yes, that if you have 20, you alone have 20 House of Assembly.
You already control the party structure.
If you have your Senate seat and there is an additional
commissioners,
there is an additional Senate seat for you, that means you have actually taken nearly everything.
So, invariably, you have Governor Ganduje. They want to put his hand behind him, as in
that is what they are saying, that the demands that were made the demands that he made were not the kind of demands that they can accept. If you have additional 20 House of Assembly and additional Senate seat for you after you've been given.
You try to have the entire party structure.
It's not possible.
Well, we will ask the Shekara people whether indeed he made this kind of impossible demands.
Yeah.
Because even me, I will
be
not
talking to the stakeholders.
Yes, I will not agree to give you 20 House of Assembly seats. If I give you 20 House of Assembly seats
out of 40.
and 5 commissioners and 10 House of Rep seats. That's too much for one person.
And there are no guarantees that if
we are going to
the
discuss
concession
Zamfara. You will see the way they decided to share power.
In Zamfara?
Yes. The governor knows that he can't win. He can't defeat the Yari and Marafa group.
So Yari is still...
Yes. I said it then that Yari did not defect.
So Abdulaziz Yari is still in
the APC.
Okay.
Marafa too is in APC. They've done power sharing.
Okay.
So everybody is happy now. They are going to work for the governor. Marafa will get his seat back. He's going back to the Senate. Yari is going back to the Senate. So everybody is happy. That's the way it should be.
Sam Dimiri. Politics. Interesting.
Power is not given.
Yes.
The most important is that power is not given. It's taken.
The
So
Zamfara governor made big concessions. You know?
To allow those senatorial
Yeah, they can make you leader of the party being the governor, leader of the party in the state. But there's a lot more that you need to do to get everyone working with you.
Okay.
And you have to please them by conceding their Senate seats to them, conceding House of Reps seats to them, conceding House of Assembly. They share this. It's power sharing. At the end of the day, you and I will be happy.
Tomorrow we have another VIP in house.
Yes, Dele Momodu.
One of us.
Yes. And
A presidential aspirant within the People's Democratic Party.
yes.
Is going to be with us.
Coming on Journalist Hangout.
Live in the studio.
And the next day,
Bob D.
Wednesday, we'll have Al Hassan Adodogwa, Majority Leader House of Reps.
Oh.
In fact, it was an opportunity to talk about Kano politics.
On
Wednesday.
Okay. We'll
Yes.
go back to this kind of politics.
That'll be very
Yes, it's going to be
Once we
interesting.
do Dele Momodu
On Tuesday.
on Tuesday, the
Wednesday.
next day is Al Hassan Adodogwa, Majority Leader House of Reps. So,
You don't want to miss Journalist Hangout this week. Don't want to miss. Thank you, Bikio. Thank you, Sam Bimire. And that's our offering today.
Thank you.
Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. and join us every Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. See you tomorrow and God bless Nigeria.